Summer on the beat, oh get up and shake your cheeks.
Hello and welcome to The Middle is Open. Abel Carrillo here, along with Anthony Espelin.
What's up, guys?
And we have him back in studio. Peter Carrillo, where have you been? Where have you been?
I've been all over the South, man. Went to Atlanta, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana. It was a big family trip. So
Yeah.
glad to be back. Love El Paso.
Which was your favorite city to visit?
New Orleans was cool.
New Orleans?
But I mean, everywhere we went, I found something to do.
Yeah.
Atlanta was cool. We were in Kennesaw.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a small town right outside of Atlanta.
Okay.
But they have like all the Civil War battlefields and all that. And, I like history, so I was like, thousands of people died on this battlefield, and I'm all like kind of taking it in because it's cool. It's nice out there. I mean, it wasn't cool that it's a battlefield, but it's history, right?
Yeah.
And then I look up, and then the kids are all playing tag on the field. And I'm like, okay, well, times have changed,
On
I guess.
old Jebediah's, his freaking...
Hey, man, those guys died so your kids could play tag on there.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Right.
On his
Well,
tombstone.
But I mean, it's so green. I think I was talking to Joey right now and how green it is in the South. Like, as you're coming to El Paso, everything just gets brown. And brown, and then
Less
it's just
trees.
like straight up desert.
Less grass,
More
less
wind.
trees.
Yeah.
Less rain.
But it was cool, man. I had a good time with the family. I tell you what, if you're ever like on a road, you'll remember road trips all your life.
Yeah.
Like a big family road trip is the way to do it. I mean, it in the moments you're like losing your mind, but then you're like, this is cool though.
Yeah. Any stories, like, quickly, like, we had a road trip back in the day when we were going to go play in a basketball tournament. Mighty Mike, he bit into a hot Cheeto, broke his tooth, and then 2 seconds later, he bites into another one, loses another tooth. He lost, like, 3 teeth.
Yeah, on the way to
with
a basketball tournament.
With 5 Cheetos, So is there any stories like that with your kids?
No, the kids were actually really good, and we had a 15-month on the road.
Okay.
So every Coco Melon song out there, I know now.
All right.
By heart, right?
But like, we didn't lose a kid. We came back safe.
Yeah.
Mom always tells the story where they left me.
Yeah.
And actually, our guest here.
Okay.
remembers that story.
Let's get into that. So our guest today is Joey Frias.
How's it going, guys? Thank you so much for having me on the show. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Dude, thank you so much for coming in. This is something that I've actually wanted to do for quite a while now. I think we're in the pandemic when I first reached out to you, trying to get you on the show, just because at that time, I believe you were still playing professionally, correct?
Yes, exactly right. That's exactly right. You reached out to me back in the day, and of course, times got busy. Of course, COVID hit. But you're exactly right. That's still at the time when I was reaching my professional level at that point, So I was right at the peak, actually. So,
yeah. So then we tried that, and then I was like, nah, okay, Joey is a no-go. We need to get the legend in here. We need to get Coach Manny in here.
Coach Manny.
Everyone, and like, if you don't know who Coach Manny is, you don't know football, especially here in El Paso.
Especially El Paso, right?
And you just say Coach Manny. Like, you don't say Manny Frias or anything, just Coach Manny, and everyone knows who he is. Like, from youth football to high school football. Like, he's literally, like, he's the guy. He's the dude.
He's been doing it for a long time. I think it's been about 10 years now since he's been retired. The city of El Paso actually inducted him into the Hall of Fame for coaching, which was kind of pretty cool and awesome to sit there and see him achieve that award, to sit there and take that in. And I'm sure, as you guys know, and since he's had such a big impact, not only for you, but I mean, across the board, from all types of, levels of football, basketball, baseball, I mean, he's done it all, even rugby. I've seen guys that are probably 65, probably like in their 50s, even come up to him and, like you said, hey, Coach Manny, just seeing the impact that he's had on the community goes to show how far along that man has come, So
what does it mean to you to have a dad like that, like where everyone knows him? Like, I don't know. I mean, I always
pressure?
I always think about my dad, and I'm always like very grateful for the impact that he's made with a lot of the a lot of the children that he's coached over the years, you know.
Definitely.
But like your dad is on a totally different level in terms of like
Of course.
you just said it right now, all the different sports, not just football, but basketball, baseball, rugby, like
Yeah.
how does that make you feel?
You know, big shoes to fill, I guess, you know, just like
Yeah.
anything else, you know, just like you said, the pressure is kind of like you sit there and you think about it and you want to put yourself kind of in his shoes, but then you sit back and you're like, you know what, whoa, that's what he did. That's his story, you know,
Yeah.
like let me sit there and sit back and I guess kind of be like a sponge and sit there and soak up all the knowledge that you got from this man and sit there and give back now to the community and the kids and sit there. And especially since now I'm a coach, I
Yeah.
could sit there and teach the morals and things that he taught me in life and give back to the kids and sit there and say, hey, you know what, this is the good things that, you know, can sit there and get you a far way in life is pretty much what I want to say, you know, so, yeah.
So you just said it right now. You are now the head coach there at Chaparral, right?
Yes, sir, correct. Chaparral, New Mexico. Yes, sir,
Yeah.
correct.
So we'll get into your coaching career right now. I just kind of wanted to talk about how you got your start in football. We already know your dad's a legend and everything, but when was it like your first memory of football?
I think probably back in the day when I used to sit there and go watch my older brother play football, you know, just being carried around as the little kid on the sideline that was the ball boy that was sitting there holding the chains and, you know, just kind of excited to also see, you know, hey, can I do these bear crawls that Mr. Manny Frias always makes us do, you know? So, yeah, I would kind of say that's what kind of caught my interest, is seeing my older brother kind of sit there and play football. And then, you know what, I was like, you know what, I think I could sit there and do this as well too. So as that youth, you know, I think I really sat there and you know, fell in love with the game right there and then. But then as I went from youth football with Coach Manny, I sat there and, of course, you know, we all played middle school football with each other. And then going into high school, of course, you know, Franklin was something that was just, you know, if you're playing for Franklin High School at the time, since it was a brand new school, and we were kind of sitting there becoming the new school in the powerhouse of the West Side.
Yeah.
That was also another big, you know, like, oh, wow, you know, we got some big shoes to fill over there as well, too, to sit there and carry tradition on at Franklin. So I would probably sit there and say Franklin is where I really, really sat there and was like, wow, football, quarterback, hey, this is this is it. You know, this is my dream and the goals and things I wanted to do. So, yeah.
Yeah. I want you guys to chime in at any point. Like, I kind of have a direction where I want to take it, but hey, Peter, you feel free to throw in some questions.
No,
and stuff.
I guess the only question I really have for you, like, what do you take away from all the great coaches you've had in your life to help you on this new, you know, this new journey for you? You're trying to build a program from the ground up, basically.
Yeah.
And you've had some great coaches, your dad being one of them, but then you've had Coach Grijalva, who
Exactly.
has been on our show too.
We've had him a couple of times on this
Yeah.
show.
And
Great-
so, and
great
he always
coach
speaks
there.
very highly of you. So it's like, what do you take? But then, what do you want? What do you use from your own experience? You know, being a professional football player, being all over the world to play. Like, how do you kind of you make your own program? What's going through your head?
You know, what I would sit there and I pretty much what on take from the coaches, you know, from exactly like you said, from all the great coaches that I've learned is teach these kids the discipline and the morals of, you know, not only just being a good coach, but sitting there and being a good person in life. And I think that's the kind of direction I want. Like, try your hardest, do your best, you know, and show these people that, you know, the new program that Coach Frias is sitting there is trying to make and build is something new and it's going to be special, you know. And I think that's something that the coaches always gave me, was a special feeling to be a part of a program that, you know, has a chance to be successful. And not only that, I have a great coaching staff around me as well, too. And I think that's what's going to help me sit there, put this puzzle together. And it's kind of like chess, you know. You got to sit there and put your pieces in the best place. And from the knowledge that I took from these coaches about football, you know, so much that they have taught me, I think that's just one of the special things that also just gives me a edge on, you know, being one of the new coaches that can sit there and bring something special to this program. So I think that's what it is. So, yeah.
One of the wild things I saw, I mean, you've been coaching with him for a while now, is one of your assistant coaches is actually a former Sun Devil who played under your father as well.
Yes, sir.
So, like, again, like, I'm going to ask this question. It's
Yeah.
kind of a little repetitive, but how does that make you feel knowing that, hey, one of my coaches on your staff is, one of your dad's former players.
It's a great special feeling because, I'm not the only one carrying around this tradition of bringing this discipline and knowing what the feeling is of winning and having that, coming from another coach and giving a different aspect as well. And, hey, bringing it to the kids and showing them, hey, no matter what we do, if we all do it together as a team, we could sit there and do something special. And I think having Renee Estrada on this coaching staff, he brings that to us. He brings that discipline. He brings the morality. He gets us together, and he shows those kids that, hey, if you guys listen to Coach Frias, you guys could sit there and you guys have a chance at winning. So
I think it's funny that you bring that up, but then his brother is at Canutillo with football and other sports. And Renee's brother, Roman.
Yeah.
And then Joey and I, what was it, about 2 years ago?
Yeah.
We coached against each other. He was coaching at Gadsden Middle
Yeah.
School, and I was coaching at Alderete, and
yeah.
they beat us by a field goal.
A
We missed a
field
field
goal,
goal
yeah,
last
yeah.
second. It was like a 35-yard field goal, and he missed it to the left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all cheering because we thought it went in. But, I mean, after the game, we went up to each other. We hugged each other because, I mean, you're coaching against someone you grew up with.
Yeah.
Respect.
Playing it with, and now you're coaching against each
Against
other.
them, yeah.
And it's just like that's the impact that this organization had for many of us,
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
but like, I mean, deviating into something else.
No. I think teachers and coaches, had a pretty big impact. 'Cause, I mean, look at us now. We love sports. We love to teach. We love to coach. So I definitely believe that these people, were put into our life for a purpose and reason.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I definitely believe that. That was the reason why, is it kind of sparked the light in our life a little bit to sit there and, like I said, give back to these kids. Especially one of the ones that are in need. Because especially out there in Chaparral, these kids, not only am I playing coach, but I'm playing teacher, father, and role model as well too, and mentor. So these kids really look up to me right now, and I'm sitting there and taking it day by day, and we're baby crawling to success, I think, right now. So it's special. I'm really enjoying it.
So one of the questions that I had for you was, you kind of touched on it, but that school that you're at, they've struggled in football.
Oh yeah.
I mean, but you're bringing this whole new mentality, I want to say.
Yeah.
What could we expect this season?
One of the things I think that's going to be different is these kids are just going to be a little more disciplined and just knowing football and having a little sense of, someone that actually has the knowledge behind football and can explain it to them and teach it to them and show them the discipline that they need to sit there and be successful. Like I said, coming from programs like Franklin, going on to a junior college where I sat there and we were undefeated, also being almost one game away from national champions, so my story has been nothing but success and winning, so that's one thing I'm going to sit there and really preach on to these kids, is if you guys buy in and you guys listen to what I'm going to teach you guys are going to have some success behind here, so yeah.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about your playing career, because you bring up Franklin, and like you said, at the time, Franklin was the powerhouse.
Yeah.
They had, if they weren't winning district championships, they were competing for them. And like I said, we've had Coach Grijalva in here, and we've actually had a really good time with him. He's a great guy. He's a great coach, and I don't know, like it's always been awesome just to have him in studio and just talk like football. Like that guy, like
he's got stories for days. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? That man, not only my dad and himself, but I mean, Coach Grijalva sat there and from the get-go of Franklin, he sat there and coached, some great athletes, So, I mean, that man can have stories for days for you.
Yeah. So when you were at Franklin, you took over a program and, you did your thing. After Franklin, what was the transition like to go and play college football? And talk about your journey, moving from high school into college, and some of the expectations that were expected from you.
Yeah, then again, like you said, playing at Franklin, I sat there and I, following my older brother, he went out to junior college in Los Angeles, California, and I sat there and I was like, you know what, I get a chance to play with my older brother again if I want to, So I took a scholarship out to this junior college in California, decided, I'm going to go play some football there. the team was just kind of a setback, I would say. Wasn't really what I was looking for once I got there. So I kind of gray shirted my first year, and then I transitioned over to a junior college called College of the Canyons. Now that's where I really had a huge impact on football. That's where I really got to learn football as far as the knowledge, the depth of the game. Knowing that hey, there's more than just being physical and just sitting there and being an athlete. The coaches that I had there they're amazing. Most of them are now Division I coaches right now in college football. So sitting there to sit there and have them at junior college and see them transition, made me feel like, hey, you know what, this is special. So I went from junior college in Los Angeles, and then I ended up getting a full scholarship to Nebraska, University of Nebraska in Omaha, which is a Division II transitioning to a Division I at the time. And then again, my very first practice when I showed up, going from California to Nebraska, there were 16 NFL scouts there. So right away, you kind of sat there and you knew, oh, wow, this is no mess around over here. It was big time.
Yeah.
I mean, seeing the scouts out there from all different teams from the NFL, just kind of sat there and you were like, it pushed you to a different level, and made you understand, hey, you know what? If this is truly something you want to do, you got to sit there and you got to grind for this. You got to really sit there and work hard, because if not, then there's someone else, that's working 10 times harder than you. So I really just sat there and just kind of pushed myself and trying to sit there and transition, with the guys that had been there already at the level, and try to step up my game as far as, being out there, So that was kind of, transition of, I would say, hey, this is the big time, and you know what, this is something I want to do for the rest of my life. So
I want to ask you a question, because, people always, they know the Division I schools, the so-called big-time schools, and we know the talent that's out there. But it's been, I guess, last 10 years, I would say, 15 years, that people are starting to recognize these other schools that, that they were the FCS, the Division I AA, or whatever they call it. Even guys that have played in Division II and stuff, they're getting a lot more recognition nowadays because of the success of, guys that, that didn't play at these big time programs. They get their opportunity to play in the NFL either through free agency or like just getting invited to a mini camp, and then you find out like, oh, they didn't go to like one of those
Alabama,
those blue bloods,
or,
they didn't go to those.
One of those, yeah.
But I want you to talk about just the talent that's actually out there when it comes to college football in general. Like I said, Division I is one thing. But there's a lot of guys, for whatever reason, they fall through the cracks and they end up at these junior colleges or these Division II schools. I think Netflix has really done a good job of exposing the talent that's out there with, I can't think of their program at this moment. It's like Last Chance U or something like that.
From Mississippi, Eastern Mississippi, I think, college. I think you sat there and you touched base on it. There's so much talent all across the board, I mean, you never know. Some of these kids, they might have been at D1, like you said, on the Netflix show, you see it all the time. They got into some trouble, little things like that, or some maybe just came from a point where they really didn't have a chance, but now they sit there, play for those junior college and sit there and get a chance, show their talent and stuff like that. So, a big guy that's always talked about right now in the news and everything, Deion Sanders. Look at the programs that he went from. He went from turning that all-black school, sitting there and making that little low school into a national championship school.
Yeah.
And now look at him. Now he's transitioned over to Division I at Colorado. Yeah. So that just goes to show you that, anything's possible and that there is talent out there. It's just a matter of, I guess, putting the pieces together. You know what I'm saying? You know? You got to sit there and football's like chess. You're going to get your players, and you got to sit there and put them in the best position to make yourself and your program win and be successful. And that just comes down to you being knowledgeable in football and just knowing exactly what you're doing out there. So I think it's all plays hand in hand. With getting that talent and sitting there and exposing it and putting them in the best position for you and your program to win. So
Nice.
Yeah.
After your college career, obviously, you only get a certain number of years to play collegiately, and then after that, what was it? Did you take some time off away from the game? try to do something else, or did you jump right into, finding a professional squad out there?
Yeah, so right after Nebraska, I actually was near Oklahoma at the time with one of our good buddies, Nate Jackson, and he was coaching at a school out there, and he was like, hey, there's a semi-professional team out here. You should come try out. They're going to have an open tryout out there. So I went down to the open tryout and, put on a showcase, for the team pretty much, and they were like, hey, we're a traveling semi-professional team. And what we do is we sit there and we travel all over the United States and we play different teams, in a semi-professional league. And it's called the GDFL. And so that's exactly what I did right after I played college ball. NFL, I had a chance to try to make it, but, things didn't work out. I just sat there and I was like, you know what, this isn't my thing. So did the semi-professional thing, traveled all over the United States. And then next thing you know it, one of my buddies on the team was like, hey, you can actually get paid to play over in Europe right now. And I was just like, really? And he's like, yeah, the cool thing about it is they pay for everything over there. So what I did is I had a really awesome season in semi-professional. Then I sat there and I made a highlight tape, put myself onto this free agency website. And then next thing you know it, I would say 2 days into my own, myself making a profile, I sat there and I had probably about 25 offers from European teams saying, hey, can you come sit there and play quarterback for me? So, I sat there and my mom, I talked to her and my dad, said, hey, I have an opportunity to go play some professional football overseas.
Yeah.
What do you think, because I was really hesitant at the time. I was kind of scared and nervous. I really didn't know anything about Europe at the time.
Did you think it was a scam?
Yeah, I thought it was a scam at first. And, hearing about hostels and European, that kind of thing,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You never know what you're getting, It's a roll of the dice, So I went with it, My mom was like, hey, this is an opportunity. You get to go see the world on someone else's ticket, So why not, Joseph, sit there and go do it, So, yeah, I sat there and one of the France teams at the time, because that was actually one of the first European countries I went to.
Okay.
They just won the championship there, so they reached out to me and they're like, hey, we really like your tape and everything. Is it okay if you come out here? So literally I was in Oklahoma at the time and they were like, we want you here in 3 weeks. But the thing about it is I had to have a passport at the time. Well, I didn't have my passport at the time, so I had to sit there and expedite it as quick as I can in 2 weeks. Get from Tulsa, Oklahoma, move back to El Paso within that 2 weeks, so pretty much changed my whole life, By the time I sat there, got to El Paso, it was probably like 12 or 1 o'clock at night, threw all my college stuff at my parents, said, here, hold on to this stuff for me. I'm going to go play some European football. And they're like, what? And I was like, yeah, and I'm leaving at 6 o'clock in the morning. So we got an early flight in the morning. We got to be up like in the next 2-3 hours.
That's crazy.
I could hear you there, like, neck gummit.
He was pretty upset. He was expecting me to do dog shit detail on Sundays with him. But I told him, no, I'm going to France instead. I'm going to go over there. So, but yeah, I sat there and I rolled the dice and I went out to France and I played at some France ball out there, and it was quite interesting. When you talk about professional over in Europe, I want to say it's not the NFL, it's nowhere nearly as talented as that. But I would say you're getting around Division II, Division I college talent out there, So you're playing around that type of talent and that type of, competition, So it's pretty interesting, It's different. The language barrier is a little bit different out there as well, too,
You're like offsides calls, and you're like, I said on 2, and they're like, oui.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, calm down, dude. We'll just get some wine afterwards, some crackers and cheese,
How's the fan base?
Fan base is great. Out in France, it was kind of, I would say it was a bit mild. The France at the time, you got to remember, this was back in 2012, I believe I went out there. So football in Europe at the time was kind of picking up. It wasn't as exciting as it is now, but it was mild, I would say, in France. But after France, I ended up transitioning over to Germany. Now, Germany, oh my goodness, man, they got some fan base out there. And not only that, they're like soccer hooligans. I mean, they're just, they're coming out, they're drunk. They've already been there probably about 3 hours before the game. They probably drank about all the freaking beer that you could pick up at Circle K that you have over there.
Oh,
in
they have a
Germany.
Circle K?
Yeah, kind of like that over there. I wouldn't call it Circle K, but it's kind of like that, just to give you a gif of what it's like, So, and you got about a couple thousand Germans just yelling at you in German. And you're like, oh my goodness, are they mad at you? But they actually, once they start yelling your name and chanting Joey, Joey, you're like, okay, yeah.
Okay, I know that.
Yeah, they're on my side then, So, but no, it was a great experience. The German fan base was just unreal, And then of course, I don't know if you guys saw, NFL was just there recently, over in Munich, and I mean they just went crazy over there, So
do they tailgate there?
they tailgate over there. It's
nice.
like I said, they get crazy.
Hell
I would say, and they're probably already drinking from the night before, So they're probably like drunk, had about 2 hours of sleep, and then ready to go again, So
That's wild, man.
Yeah, they got a great fan base though.
How long were you in Germany?
I was actually playing 9 years over there.
Oh wow,
9 years.
You-
So during the
Yeah, their
pandemic,
citizenship and everything.
exactly. I did actually. I actually got my citizenship out there. Actually ended up working for a private security company and was watching a lot of the trains out there and doing a lot of private events and stuff. So it was interesting. I had a good time out there. So, and I lived all over Germany. I mean, from the north, south, east, and west. I like you said, you love history. Oh man, you got to go out to Europe. There's a lot of history and a lot of things you can see and do out there. So yeah.
I was gonna ask you on your downtime when you're over there in Germany, like you obviously have your season. Do you come back to the States during the off season, or you just stay over there? You're talking about how you love Germany. What would you do on your downtime when you weren't playing football?
So for the 9 years when I was over there, I would say for the first 5 years, I was working out there. I had a job out there, like I said, working for a private security company. So I didn't get a chance to really come back, So I made it a year-round thing. I ended up staying with some programs out there, or if not, the teams reached out to me and were like, hey, we saw you're still out here in Europe. We'll get you a job out here, and that'll get you your citizenship. Do you mind staying out here and working with us all year round? So that's what ended up making me stay out there, because I would sit there and end up working for a team, or if not, they would private, hire me as like I said, doing some type of security job or something that I could sit there and, get hired for as being an American, because you got to remember that too. I didn't really know German at the time. I speak it a little bit now, but at the time it was kind of hard to have a language barrier between, communicating between the people there and then, as a regular job, So, but there was times where my mom sat there and was like, you know what, Joseph, I haven't seen you, you need to get home, So I also transitioned home and would come home and work out and pretty much sit there and work out on my private time. And then if I could sit there and grab some of the old guys, from football, sit there and go throw at Franklin, and just try to stay in shape during the time as much as I can and as best I can. So, yeah.
That's great. That's a cool story, man.
Yeah.
So you speak German now?
Ich spreche Deutsch, yeah. Aber das ist sehr hard language.
Do you ever like yell at your kids now in German, and you're just like,
oh yeah,
they're like, is he pissed or is he saying did good?
Yeah, no, he gets every cuss word in the book in German now. It's unfortunate, but yeah, we have a 10 o'clock nighttime time where we sit there and we try to talk just German to them, so to try to keep them, because Mama is German, so we try to sit there and keep that tradition of knowing both languages around, So, well, actually, he's got to know three, though.
Spanish, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say that. He's got to know Spanish, German, English.
So you got to go.
Yeah.
And actually, his mom is actually Turkish as well, too. So, actually,
wow.
4
Oh,
languages.
nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's cool.
He's pretty mixed.
That's really cool.
Mutt, so. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What were some of the? Did you just play with one team there in Germany, or did you have multiple teams that you played? And what leagues did you play in?
Yeah, so pretty much how they did it over there, it's kind of like soccer. They have a third division, a second division, and then a first division out there.
Okay.
And I bounced around from the third division all the way up to the first division. Yeah, I played for, I would say, 6 different teams, actually, as a matter of fact, So I would do good for one season, and then they were like, hey, we're going to offer you a better contract if you want to come over here. Then it was like in a different part of Germany. So I was like, you know what? Sorry, I'm going to move over here,
Yeah.
I mean, if you just got to look out also for the best interest for yourself at the time,
Yeah.
know. So, and that's what I did, I just, I had the opportunity. I made a name for myself out there. Teams were wanting me. So I just bounced around, and I just, like you said, I got to see the world on someone else's ticket and travel. And on my downtime, I just did as much as I could when I can, So.
What would you say the you kind of compared the talent level to being D2, D1 talent out there in Europe, but I guess where would you say the game is now from when you first started in Europe to today?
Oof. Okay, so it's made a big jump, actually. I would say it was probably about the 5th or 6th sport out there, ranked as far as behind soccer and all these other sports. And I think it was about either last year or 2 years ago, it has now jumped to the number 2 spot behind soccer.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, football.
Even over basketball?
Even over basketball.
Well, that's
Wow.
why the
So
NFL's starting to
That's
do
wild.
more games out
That's why
there.
they're
Yeah.
transitioning over there, exactly, So, I mean, I don't know if you saw just recently they had they're going to have a game in Frankfurt a Main, and that's one of the teams I was also playing for. They sold out their tickets in 5 minutes.
Wow.
So that just gives you a gif of, I mean, how big it's growing over there. Like I said, it's made the jump from number 5 or 6 spot to number 2. So at the time, like I said, when I was first going out there, it wasn't, it was big, but it wasn't as big as it is now, And they actually have a super league now, which is really cool. It's called the European League of Football. And if you guys ever get a chance, look it up on YouTube. And they're actually playing right now. I would say they're about halfway through the season. And it's a really awesome league. If guys were at NFL for maybe 2 or 3 years and didn't make it and got cut, or guys at the Canadian Football League or now the USFL or XFL, a lot of these guys are sitting there transitioning over to Europe, staying in shape over there, playing in their off-season time, and then coming back. Or some of these guys are even in Europe, not even having a chance in the XFL, USFL, and now they're getting a chance, because this league has sat there and brought so much talent, to sit there and
Second
showcase it. Yeah, exactly. We all get a second chance, so I think it's, some guys get put in a position where, they were talented, they got picked up, but it wasn't the best, choice or the option for them, or in their or best fit or position for them. So, of course, things happen for a reason. Just kind of like me, you get pushed off, you get moved on, and a lot of these guys are getting a second chance, like you just said, and I think it's interesting and neat, and it keeps the game growing, like you said, so,
I kind of feel right now, when we were growing up, we grew up in the 90s and stuff, and it was, MLB, NBA, NFL, and we were so close-minded. We're like, like even in the NBA, they say when you win the championship, it's world champions.
Yeah.
But the reality is, like, they're not world champions. They're like, you win the NBA, you won the US's, championship. But it seems like now in 2023, all the leagues are fighting to have that international presence.
Oh yeah.
You have the NBA that's literally played all around the world. You have soccer that's played all around the world. That's the number 1 sport. But then NFL is now doing it. They're like you talk about. They've had games in London. They've had them in Germany, like all over Europe, right? They even, for a time period, they had the NFL Europe trying to kind of filter talent, over. And then now you see MLB is having games over there in England as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're going to make it as an organization, it's important for you to be an international league now.
Yeah.
I think with the presence of soccer, it's shown us the Champions League, these guys, you can play all over the world, and that's what's going to make your league the dominant league.
Oh yeah.
So, I think it's...
Well, even look at, I don't know, because I follow it as well right now, flag football. It's going on right now here in the United States. That being there, I think there's like 9 to 10 different countries right now in the United States competing for flag football as well, too, So, even that sport, like you said, it's taking off internationally. More and more countries, and I think more kids and more communities are getting involved in football, you have your haters and your naysayers about football nowadays, but I think it is getting a little more safer compared to the time that we were growing up. I probably have CTE for sure. You know what I'm saying? But it's still all up there.
We used to call it like getting your bell rung, and now it's like, no, you had a concussion.
Yeah, you really do. Right. And that's another thing too. I think the safety protocol and the things that we do to sit there and make the game a little more safer these days, with rules and regulations and things like that, it helps, and it brings awareness to the kids, and not only that, you want to make sure that these kids are living a long life too,
you have a life beyond football.
Exactly,
Well, it's funny, even in hockey, back in the day, they had freaking goaltenders that had the Jason mask on. You know, they had the guys weren't even wearing helmets, and they're all skating
mask.
around and getting hit in the face with a puck and stuff like that. Over time, things evolve, and it's like we need better equipment, and like I think that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, I mean, I got kids right now that are in high school. I got a sophomore kid right now doing like 255 on squat right now, you know. I mean, and I have another one that's almost close to 305, you know. So I mean, and these are high school kids, and I was like, wow, these were numbers that I was kind of putting up in college days, you know what I'm saying? So bigger, stronger, and faster, like they've been saying, you know. It is true, you know. I mean, just you got to sit there and just make the kids, and I guess just a little more aware of, hey, you know, this can have an impact on your life if you don't take it too serious, you know. So
one of the programs that you played with, I think it was in Germany, a few years ago, Odell Beckham actually went down.
Yeah, the Munich Cowboys,
and he did like his thing over there, like kind of training. I'm assuming training with the players and everything, and it was like this little showcase, and it was really interesting. Did you get a chance to see that in person, or?
Yeah. So I was behind the scenes with that. You know, he actually had one of his best friends from high school playing over there with us. So he was one of the receivers. So that's why Odell was out there, you know, visiting. And like you said, you know, just bringing that type of impact, the guy that's been there at the top of the level, you know, and coming to show these kids, hey, you know, if you sit there and you grind and you work hard, you know, this is possible as well too. You know what I'm saying? So, because I think even his friend got a chance back at the USFL, or I think it was either there or Canada as well too, you know. So like you said, you know, second chances are all over, you know. You just got to take the opportunities that you get, you know. So it was pretty neat though, you know, to sit there and see him. And you know, the cool thing about him as well too is he was giving back to the kids. He took the time to sit there and give back to the kids, and he sat there and he went out to the community. And I mean, the community got pretty crazy about everything, you know, seeing an NFL star there, you know. But it was really interesting and neat though.
You've had a tremendous journey from high school, college, professional. Is it a journey that you would recommend? Because I mean, it seemed like at times, like, you know, doing the semi-pro thing and then traveling to Germany, it wasn't. I don't want to speak for you, but
did you question yourself?
Were there any times
the
when
time.
you had to overcome adversity, and would you do it all over again? Like, what is it?
Oh, yeah. You know, the adversity, you know, I think that was every day knocking at my door, especially being over there away from family, you know, away from home, sitting there just, you know, thinking, hey, did I make the right choice? Did I go down the right road? You know, did I sit there and do the right thing, you know? And I mean, of course, we all have that dream and that, oh, NFL, I want to play there. I want to make money. I want to have that shine, you know what I'm saying? But it just wasn't my story. It wasn't written for me, you know. But you know what, European and playing ball and like you said, traveling the world and having the experiences that I have and seeing things that I saw with my eyes, I'll take that over the NFL any day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and then not only that, I'm going to sit there and talk about it, but it brought me the best thing in my life. It brought me my wife. You know, that woman put me through, you know, or I say put me through. She raised me up when I sat there and I was probably at the lowest of my life. And not only that, she brought me my 2 kids now in my life and really made me sit there and become to the man that I am today. So I'm very thankful for that, you know, so.
Would you recommend a journey? Maybe there's some, you know, El Paso talent there out there right now that, you know, they've gone the JUCO route, they've gone the, you know, Division II route, and they love the game. They don't want to give it up. They still want to play. Is that a route that you would potentially recommend for them? Like, hey, if you love the game so much, like maybe Europe's an option for you guys. Is that something you would recommend?
I would definitely recommend it. Like I said, you know, guys over there in this new league, European League of Football, or if not the German Football League, all different types of countries now have their leagues. These guys are now getting a second chance, you know, because they're getting chances to have more film. They're staying in shape. They're staying active. And then all of a sudden, it just takes one coach to sit there and see, oh, wow, look at this guy. You know, he's actually, he might have it. He just, you know, like I said, he didn't get a chance, you know. So I would definitely sit there. If you're still looking to have an opportunity, European League of Football, German Football League, or if not, the website that I used was the Europlayers.com. So it's EURO and then players.com. and that's a free agent website, and you guys could always sit there and get on that, and they're going to sit there and ask you for your highlight tape, all your height, your measurements, and all that type of stuff. If you have it, I would recommend put it on there, make a profile yourself, and reach out. So
that's crazy that you say that, because that's kind of like how high schoolers are right now with like Huddle and everything, like trying to get recruited by a lot of these programs. That want to play after high school. And you're kind of saying like, well, there's another one when it comes to professional.
Exactly. Yeah. There's many opportunities, and I think the thing about El Paso too is a lot of us don't hear about these opportunities, or if not even told, or or even brought knowledge to, hey, there is life beyond like you said, NFL and everything. So I think it's just a matter of just having the knowledge of knowing, hey, there's other doors and opportunities for kids. So
that's awesome.
And I would say some of those guys probably have more heart than anybody, because they've had the door slammed on them so many times, yet they still, it's like now you got me interested. I'm like, I want to check out some European football, man.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you this. Anthony is the guy that watches NFL Network year round. Year round.
Watch anything else.
Like this guy,
awesome.
You ask him about baseball, basketball, he has no clue.
No clue.
He was naming. We had a segment last time. Name like 5 baseball players. He was like Mark McGuire,
named all the guys that were retired.
Mark McGuire,
no current
Babe Ruth, and he said Roof. He didn't say Roof. He said Babe Ruth.
Roof. Yeah.
And then he started naming guys from the Sandlot, Twins, and stuff like that. So
Benny the Jet.
I mean, So
hey, heroes are remembered, but legends never die.
Exactly.
There we go. I think they just recently celebrated their 25th anniversary.
Yeah.
We're old, man.
That was a movie. That was probably the greatest movie ever. I don't know.
So we've gone over your journey, but now where you're at, is this the beginning of something great in your opinion?
As far as coaching and everything, and being a head coach, I actually, Peter, you know what? I've been knocking on the door as far as being a head coach since I think it was about 2016. I've had my foot in the door with it, being assistant coaches, graduate assistant, all that type of stuff. But now being able to sit there and have a stamp and being known as the face of the program and everything, I think that's special, and it's something that I've always wanted to do in my life. So having this opportunity and finally getting it, I think it's it's go time for me. I really want to showcase that I know what I'm doing. I could sit there, and as you guys know, Chaparral, we haven't won a game in 4 years. And if you look at point differential, I think we were at 5,000 to 88 points as far as the point differential.
So going into a program like that, and you have talent, because like I said, I coach middle school, and I've always told Abel, like, some of these kids we play against, they're scrappy. And so how do you go about molding them into that next level? Because obviously there's a jump from middle school to high school.
Yeah.
But when you're molding them into a high school competitive player, you just gotta clean the slate, or how do you go about it?
Yeah, that's it. Just clean slate out there. I mean, obviously, like anything else, you got some bad habits that you got to sit there and break. And show these kids, some discipline and little things like that. But I think that's the special part about it, is starting from ground zero and just showing the kids that everything that you learn from, as far as all these coaches and people that have had an impact on your life, and sitting there and having your way, picking out the good things from everything that you've learned and sitting there and putting it in your way, your style. And, like I said, just sitting there and rolling the dice and showing and making people believe into everything that you're doing out there. So
what's your first home game?
August, I believe it's 22nd is going to be against, oh gosh, I should know.
Dude, that's a bad question, Peter. Let me tell
right?
you why. You never look ahead. You always look at that first game.
Have to actually look real
well, I'm
quick.
saying first home game, we should head out to the stadium.
Oh, no.
That's what I was getting
First
at.
home game, yeah, definitely.
It is going to be August 25th against Fabens. So, we got a Texas team, so that's we got our hands full, I think.
We got to get out there.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm gonna try to travel out there. Peter and I
actually live right there. So.
Yeah. Peter lives out in the middle of nowhere, where the hills have eyes and everything.
I'm gonna tell you what game you guys got to come to, because it's always interesting. It's a fun game, and it's been a tradition out there for Gadsden and everything. It's called the Gap.
Gap.
The Battle of the Gap between Gadsden High School and then Chaparral.
So are they playing at Chaparral this year?
Yeah, this year it's actually going to be over here at our high school, so we're going to be home this year. So we're looking forward to that,
Nice.
So,
Nice.
Yeah, and then the exciting thing, too, about this program, these kids haven't had new uniforms in about 10 years.
I saw you. You
Wow.
designed did you
Your
design them?
program.
So me and John, we sat there and I got with John. He's from El Paso, JL Sports. So shout out to John. Thank you so much. He sat there and we designed 4 sets for these kids, So, I mean,
Hell yeah.
it was
Dude.
like Christmas for these kids out there,
Awesome.
So,
Dude,
just little things like that I'm just trying to sit there and, just do little things, We're going to baby crawl, but I think it's going to be good for these kids, so.
Man, and then that just does so much
Yes.
for the confidence
Yeah.
of,
Yeah,
you if you get out there, like it kind of brings me back to my Sun Devil days.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
when we would go, we would practice all year, like the beginning of when your dad would host practice, like the first 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and then we had our first game. There was a time period when, I mean, our helmets are just banged up, and then your dad would get that fresh coat of paint, and then he had a day at his business that he would paint every single helmet. And when you got that helmet, fresh black paint with the red face mask, it was like, no, it made you
It was
feel
really intimidating.
Yeah,
it
made you feel like a professional, like,
But then when
damn,
you
like,
would get that first scratch in it, you're like,
oh
that
yeah,
was
no,
it.
like, dude, there's nothing better. Like, looking good is one thing. It's gonna propel you to do bigger and better
Look
things.
good, feel good, play good, right?
Exactly,
So,
man.
Yeah,
No,
and that was something that I told the kids. I wanted to go that extra mile for these kids. You know what I'm saying? Because if they see that, hey, this coach actually likes us. He believes in us. He's gonna give us a chance. I think that's gonna go a long way. As far as how these kids play for me.
Yeah, they're gonna give it their all to you.
I think so.
For you.
Yeah. And I got a great group of kids that I think they want to win now. I think they're tired of having that image of, hey, you know what, we're the homecoming team. And that's what I told them. I said, you know what, we're not going to be the homecoming team anymore. You know what I'm saying? We're going to sit there and I think we're going to surprise some teams this year. So, yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's awesome.
And
like,
the cool thing about it too is our school colors are actually black, gray, and white. So, that all black is what we're bringing out there.
Nice.
So it's really intimidating. So
I gotta ask you, is there gonna be a blackout?
Oh yeah.
On any of those games,
we got two uniforms that are blackout. So I mean,
Blackout game.
Yeah, we got to go to a blackout game for sure. Definitely.
You send it to us. We'll
hell yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be a good
Well,
game.
actually, we'll try to maybe do it against the Gap. So that way it could be kind of cool. Be interesting to see. So yeah.
Yeah, no. Peter and I, we've had like good opportunities to cover high school football, and it's one of the best things you can cover. It's just like you have players that really love the game.
Oh, yeah.
And when you go out to, like, I've gone to Franklin quite a few times, and those games are just so fun, man. Yeah. Just so fun.
Hearing that student section, that band, there's nothing like it, right?
But the one thing I'm gonna say is, I think, and I told Peter this, when you let everyone know that you were now the head coach, I told Peter, dude, I want to go. Because, like, I follow, like, I have my Max Preps app and everything, and I'm always following programs. But when you announced that you were the head coach, I looked at that record, I looked at the previous years, and I was like...
Yeah, he came to me right away.
I was like,
dude, it's
this...
gonna be work.
Yeah.
I was like...
Oh, yeah.
I was like, this is a challenge for him.
Oh, yeah.
But call me a sentimental, call me a softie or whatever, and I kind of got choked up. I was like, I want to go to the first game, like that home game. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to be able to travel with you guys and everything, but I want to go to that first home game, and I want to see a W. Like, I want to see, because I'm sure, like, you're going to have those guys ready to go.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And I can't wait to, like, be there officially, like, on the sideline, and then, like, I want to be able to, like, interview you after the game, and like I'm telling you, I get sentimental, and it's because, like, I love what I do when I cover sports, but, like, this one would be extra special, man.
Oh yeah, especially since we grew up and we know each other.
Yeah,
it'd be really special, And I think these kids, I think that's something that I sit there and I try to tell them every day. All the hard work, everything that I'm sitting there, I'm doing. Yeah, it's tough. I know you guys don't like it, but I think, you know, it's at the end of the day, it's going to pay off. Once you guys sit there and you guys get that feeling of winning, you know, then the sky's the limit for these kids.
Yeah.
You know, so, and that's one of the things that I'm always trying to preach to them, you know, like, just sit there and work hard, you know, because I'm a firm believer, hard work beats talent, you know.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I'm trying to sit there and make sure these kids understand it, you know. All the hard work we're doing is going to sit there and beat all these talented teams that they got, and no matter what, you know, and as long as they fight for 4 quarters, you know, at the end of the day, I can sit there and put a smile on my face and know, hey, you guys gave it all you got. I'm happy to be your coach and know that that's what it is, you know. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, even for me, like, your dad would scare me sometimes. I mean, like,
who didn't he scare, right?
I know, but it, you know, it's you need that. You need that push. You need that, you know, somebody to get in your face and tell you, you know, you can do this.
Yeah.
You got to push through it, you know, and that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I think there's a mentality that you have to have, because let's be honest, your dad's not the biggest guy. However, we look at him like he's a giant.
Yeah.
You know?
He talks like one. I think that's what it is.
And,
you know, so.
but I think that's something that you have to instill in with your kids nowadays is, like you said, this program hasn't won in 4 years. And it's not like, I saw this movie the other day. It's kind of one of those Disney corny movies, but it's actually a really good movie. It's that McFarlane USA.
Okay.
And if you haven't seen it, I would recommend you watch it, you being a coach and everything. But it's from it's a town that these kids, they're always getting like dirt thrown in their face, you know, and they end up having a cross country team and everything, and they excel and they end up winning the state championship and stuff like that. And there's this one kid that's like, it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog.
Oh yeah.
And like, I think that is something that your dad has always instilled in every single one of his players. Because going back to those days, we weren't the biggest, we weren't the baddest, we weren't the fastest, but like, it was all heart.
Yeah.
It was all heart that he, like, I have a nickname for a reason. It's Jalapeno.
Jalapeno.
And your dad gave me that.
Yeah.
Like, and I wasn't fast, I wasn't strong, but it was just like going out there and just, I would try my hardest.
Yeah.
Like, and I think there's something to say, like, when someone has heart, man, that like, you can do whatever.
I think he instilled in a lot of us the fact that no matter what you do in your life, because, I mean, look at us all now, you know, just do it and do it at your best.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, don't give up, you know, no matter what it is. And I think that's one thing he always told me, like, Joseph, if you're going to be a coach and you want to be a head coach, then go out and be the best head coach. Give these kids an opportunity and a chance. You know, do the things that you've sat there and you've learned, take that in and sit there and give back to these kids now, you know. So that's one thing that I'm always sitting there, and I'm always, like my dad, you know, always taught me, you know, just give back, you know, and that'll be your reward at the end of the day, you know.
Yeah.
So
I've always thought about that we should do some kind of like reunion. Like anybody that's ever played for the organization, we should have like some kind of see where everyone's
Yeah.
at.
where everyone's at, yeah.
Yeah, I
That'd
know.
be cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be a big venue.
Yeah.
I was about to say, we better get a football field or
Yeah.
something.
We'll
I'm not going to fit here.
Right?
We'll be there for the blackout
Yeah,
night.
yeah, we'll be there in
Right.
Chaparral.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, man. So this was great, man.
Yeah.
This was awesome.
Absolutely.
I really enjoyed this interview. A few months ago, Peter was coaching, and he gave us a little pep talk.
Yeah.
All right, I'm not gonna ask for your pep talk. You
Yeah.
save those for the game
I
day.
got it.
All right, but I want you grade Peter on his
Nah.
pep talk.
You put Peter on the spot.
No. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'll give you the pep talk.
No,
Dave.
Hold on. Hold on.
We're down by one.
No,
You
no,
can
no.
kick this field goal.
All right, I want you to grade Peter. Nah, come on, Peter.
It's not in the moment, man.
Yeah.
He was over there screaming, "Damn it, Ray Finkel! God damn it, Ray Finkel!
Nah, but
Laces out, laces."
Joey owns me right now.
Yeah.
He leads the series 1-0.
hey,
So if I ever become a head coach somewhere,
You're going to be like,
Well,
You're gonna
let me
keep
throw
scoring.
this
doesn't
out
matter
there.
where, we're scheduling that game.
I do have 2 positions open for anyone listening,
Oh.
so
Oh,
you know,
all
so
right.
yeah, you know.
all
you
right.
guys are-
depends on your pep talk, Peter.
All right. Got your interview now,
That's your
Peter. Here we
interview?
go. son.
That's cool, man. Well, anyways, guys, anything you want to add, Anthony?
Man, I've just where can everybody find you? Like social media or anything?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook actually. I do have a Twitter. I haven't really updated Twitter too much, but I am on Facebook as well, Joseph Frias. If you want to sit there and follow me, like I said, I am under there. And I am going to sit there and make a football page for the Chaparral football team as well, too. So once I get that linked up, I'll send it over to Abel, and I'll make sure you guys spread it around as well, too.
Yeah, definitely.
And I do have the schedule. We've been having a little bit of schedule changes as well, too, but it kind of got finalized. So what I'll do is I'll send it to you guys as well, too, so that way you guys can have a copy of that as well, too. So
Yeah,
and like I said, you guys are always more than welcome to come out there and support us and the kids. We would love to sit there and have you guys, so, and I'm sure they're going to be excited to, once I tell them about this, podcast, they're going to sit there and jump on it, you know what I'm saying? So thank you guys very much. I appreciate it, so.
For sure.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Peter?
No, man. I mean, it was great to finally get you in.
Yeah.
I mean, we could talk hours of
right?
football, sports, just catching up on everything, but I'm glad you're doing well. I can't wait to go see you. Abel and I, we've been making plans since we saw you first put out that first schedule.
Yeah.
So hopefully we could get out there, just kind of give you and some of the kids out there some of that recognition that maybe they've been lacking, and just put a spotlight on the game and just give them some of that confidence. That I know you're changing things too. Yeah. So, but I'm just happy, man.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it, and like I said, these kids are hardworking kids, so I think it will really have a big impact once you fill out those stands, and they're going to see, hey, there are actually some people are interested in watching us play, so.
For sure. Yeah. I was going to ask you, this was a question kind of slipped, but I'm going to ask you right now.
Yeah.
What kind of advice did Coach Grijalva give you when you took this?
Oh, man, I actually reached out to him. Coach Grijalva has always been the type of guy that sat there and told me, just always do your best. Kind of like the same advice my dad always told me.
Yeah.
Take the same passion that I always had for the game and make sure that I let everyone know and let them see that, hey, this guy's actually not only a coach, but he's mentoring these kids and bringing that light to these kids and giving them an opportunity to hopefully grow in the game and sit there and maybe do something with it as well, too, because you never know. I might have a diamond in the rough and one kid might make it, and if one kid at least makes it out of all the kids I get, then I might be doing something right, so I think that's something that Coach Grijalva always sat there and instilled in me is just, like I said, you just whatever you're doing, do it the best and give back to these kids and make them understand that, there's an opportunity for everyone, so. But nice. He's always been a great coach, a great mentor. I've always reached out to him. We're still in contact. I've actually asked him to come out and make a game. He says he's going to try to make a game as well, too. So just to even have that man and legend out there as well, with my old man, would be great, so.
That's some Hall of Famers there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Even Coach Henry. I'm trying to get Coach Henry, and I don't know if you guys remember him. He was the very first Franklin head coach as well, too. We still keep in contact with him, me and my family as well, too. He was a great man as well, so. He's another legend, so.
That's cool.
Definitely.
How many tickets are you gonna give out, or how many people are you gonna have in attendance that first game?
I'm expecting at least over 1,000, 2,000 people. I'm hoping, including
and that's just your family.
Oh, family. Oh, I hope so. I hope I have that many cousins,
hey,
so.
Yeah. All right.
Yes,
no,
sir.
this was great, man. I really enjoyed it. We're gonna have to do it again after you guys get that first W. We'll bring you back in studio, and like Peter said, we could chat for hours. So.
Yeah, no, definitely. I appreciate the Middles Open on this podcast. Thank you guys for having me so much. It's been great. I've had a lot of fun talking football. Just chatting up with you guys. It's been awesome. Thank you guys.
Great. All right, guys. Well, with that said, this was the Middles Open.
Peace.